Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 1998 movie, The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars. So this is the third and final movie in the Brave Little Toaster trilogy, and like the first one, this one's based on a novella by Thomas M. Dish, and I guess which is kind of like the sequel to his original novella, The Brave Little Toaster. And in this one, Toaster and the gang go to Mars to try to retrieve their little master, who is the baby of their master from the first two movies. He gets beamed up to Mars by accident, and so they have to go up there to save him and bring him back home. And when they get there, they find that Mars is ran by a bunch of electronic devices, like different appliances and stuff, led by this evil refrigerator. And Toaster has to compete with him in an election to win in order to be able to stop them from destroying Earth and everything, so that they can go home. This movie is very dull. I've never really liked this one. Even as a kid, I always felt this was easily the weakest out of the Brave Little Toaster trilogy. And like I said when I reviewed the second movie, that I don't really care for this one or the second one near as much as I used to, which this one I never really cared for very much anyway. It's always been one that I never really cared for. I think my brother liked it a lot as a kid, if I remember right, but I never really cared for it. It never was one that I really enjoyed. It has some good moments, like the first little bit of it, like when they're before the baby gets abducted and stuff. I like when they're just in their house and stuff, and when they first go into space, I think it's kind of cool. But as the movie progresses, it just gets kind of dumb and dull, and it kind of slows down once they get to Mars and everything, and there's nothing really that interesting. They meet this Christmas ornament, which is like this angel tree topper, that just very weird character, and got some other new characters. There was this hearing aid that belonged to Albert Einstein, which is very weird, and Viking 1, the spacecraft that went to Mars back in the 70s, is one of the characters in here, which I thought that was kind of cool. They added some little historical stuff in here, but this movie is just very weird. And like with the original, there's a lot of stuff in here that you could tell is more aimed at adults, and the tone is kind of all over the place. They're trying to be more aimed at an older audience, but at the same time trying to be aimed at a younger audience, and it just doesn't mesh well. And it just, I didn't care for this movie very much, and I never really have. The animation is easily the worst out of the three. It felt like they kind of rushed the animation in this one. And I won't say that the second one's animation was excellent or anything, but it was at least about on par with the first one. This one, the animation just, there's something about it, it doesn't look as good and everything, and the voice acting is still fine and everything, but it just, it wasn't as good as the other movies and everything. I just never have really enjoyed this one. It has some of the worst songs in the trilogy too, which there's only one song in here that I really have like nostalgia for or remember, and it's the floating song about the balloons that are floating in space and everything. I do kind of like that song. I thought that was kind of cool, even though it just is there to fill the time and everything. It's just one of those little show-stopping songs that doesn't really have anything to do with the story. It's kind of there to fill time, and this movie is not very great. It's not terrible, not the worst thing ever, but it just isn't very entertaining, and it's one of the reasons I don't watch the trilogy as often. I usually just watch just the first one, because this one is not very fun to watch. I've never really enjoyed it. I did watch it a lot as a kid, but I never really enjoyed it that much either. I kind of just watched it since I was watching the other two, if that makes sense. I do like the song that plays at the beginning, which isn't an original song. It's that all of these movies kind of have the have like classic tunes in here, and this one has Bread and Butter by the New Beats, which I've always really liked that song, and they play it at the beginning of the song and everything. It's on the radio, and I love that song. That's one of the things I do love about this. All three of these movies is they have like really good classic tunes at the beginning of the movies. The first one had Tutti Frutti, and the second one had Something Tells Me I'm Into Something Good, and this one has Bread and Butter. So all three of them have great classic oldie songs. And also they bring back Ratso, who I just really didn't like in the other movie, and I still don't really care for him. I mean, he's better in this one, but I still just don't really care for him. And he has a dumb little subplot where he's trying to block the baby monitor from waking up the parents. It's dumb. There's a lot of illogical issues in this, but this movie was just mediocre as heck. It's one that's harmless, but it just isn't entertaining or anything. I just don't really enjoy it. So I'd say I'd give The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars a 4 out of 10. It's an okay movie. I think kids could enjoy it more than adults, but even as a kid though, I didn't really enjoy it, so I don't really know. I mean, it's never been one that I've found that interesting or anything. So, but anyway, let me know in the comments if you've seen this one, what you think of it. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.